And hello, and welcome to AleksConnects Sandbox, specifically Creative Sandbox. My name is Alex, and let's continue our fun art Angry Birds vs Transformers. So today's session is going to be definitely pretty short, because I missed the regular schedule, and I think from now on I will change my schedule to these time frames, because a little bit later and maybe a little bit earlier. So yeah, let's just make a quick recap what we're working on. So we are continuing to working with Angry Birds illustration. So this is like the draft sketch of this illustration that we are going to work with pretty soon. Right now we are actually working with 3D. We are trying to depict these forms in 3D in order to understand how to put them into 3D space throughout this 2D illustration. So basically, the whole reason why I'm working with 3D now is just to get the understanding of these complex forms in here. Because again, I'm considering this one as pretty complex form. It's semi-organic, non-organic, so it's definitely challenging for me. So in order to make this better, of course, I cut these things separately, added them into the ZBrush, and what I'm doing for the last sessions is basically trying to figure out how this form works in 3D. So we're just going to continue to do that throughout this session. Let's hope that I will manage to do a decent amount of things. Make things a little bit for you to see the interface. So yeah, let's just go right away into work, because again, we don't have that much time, so let's just go right into the work. So okay, the first thing that I definitely need to adjust, I don't necessarily like how these things look, so let's just make them a little bit softer for now. They are definitely look pretty strange. Like right away from far, it's pretty noticeable. Again, I still kinda didn't answer the question about should I go into hard surface or not, or should I just leave this at this point, because again, since this sculpture is not going to be used in final, I don't think that I need to spend too much time on it. I already spent extensive amount of time on it. But again, the reason why I'm doing this is just basically to understand how these forms are wrapped around, how these lines are actually translating in 3D. So just basically thing for my brain to better understand these 3D shapes in 3D space, or these 2D shapes in 3D space. Because again, I designed them, I like how they look, but unfortunately I don't have enough experience to right away imagine them into 3D. So for that reason, I'm going through 3D sculpting in order to actually learn how these forms depict it. So let's just continue to do that. Okay, the whole process pretty simple. So basically I will continue to divide smooth out shapes that we did before, because right now we have a bigger resolution. Before we had 128 resolution, which of course these pixelization is the result of it, or polygonization, I don't know. So yeah, so let's just make quick smooths of the shapes that we're going to detail. I'm not going to go into hands yet. Today I'm going to work on this so-called trunk area, because again, it's going to be a short stream and I don't think that I will manage to work with hands completely, so I kind of want to pick something that doesn't have that much details in it, and it's pretty simple by design. Again, as I said previously, when you're starting to go through these stages of smoothing out like your previous details, you of course will lose some of them, and you kind of need to redo them from the not from the ground up necessarily, but almost from the ground up, which I don't see as a problem for me necessarily, but it could be for some of you, I guess. Okay. Again, I'm barely pressing the stylus because I don't want this smooth out too drastically, but still we need to smooth this out to lose this polygons that we have here, because this is like the only way to get in from lower resolution to higher resolution in this sketching stage. By the way, again, I'm considering this stage is 3D sketching, so basically I'm just trying to figure out this form in 3D. It's not going to be used in final work directly. It's just going to be serve a purpose of reference. So basically what I'm doing now is just basically creating reference for myself. So yeah. So the next thing after we smooth these things out, we are going through dividing these planes using the design that we already established. Again, I'm going to try to keep them as sharp as possible, although I'm probably not going to, but still I will try to do my best. Okay, this is a question. Should I need this type of small design element here or not? Because no, we always can add it, so let's just go with simplification. We're not going to add small details in design. Doesn't seem right. Also, we definitely need to distinguish that this thing is not embedded into body, so this is actually a separate plate. So is these things, we definitely need to separate them by creating this crazy crease in here. Pretty big crease. The deeper this crease will go, the better. I'll just apply Dynamesh. Again, we don't need to put it too deep, but enough to suggest this thing is actually separate. This is just a plate. Okay, so now we need to create a separation for these plates. So right here we definitely have pretty decent separation. Okay, we definitely need to get rid of the hand. It's definitely going to distract us. Yeah, like this. No, actually, like this. So Control, Alt, Shift, and drag with the left button, left mouse button. need to create pretty big separation here. So we kind of lost a little bit of the flow in terms of a design. Oh no, I completely forgot to check mesh and continue to work on details, but it seemed like it works fine. But because as you remember, before start working on these type of elements, we need to go through draw, snap, and snap to mesh, because these things are constantly shifting for some reason. In order to avoid these type of shifts, kind of need to do this. Okay, these things are definitely need to be higher. I guess it would be better to just resculpt them. Yeah, other than that, it works fine. Good thing that I managed to... Yeah, I remember this at the beginning stage, because if I would work next, it would be definitely a problem. Again, I'm trying to put this crease like, imagining that I'm pushing this one up. I not necessarily want to create this type of crease for the leg. Just kind of a little bit of problematic thing to do though here. Do this properly, it still goes in. Separating the planes. Let's apply this one. Definitely need to make these things a little bit smoother. And I guess I need to build. It seems like all this thing needs to be built up. So let's just use a clay build up to make it bigger, because it doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right. Or no, let's try to work with the pinch, and actually we'll make this one like this. That would be probably a better thing to do. Again, it doesn't need to be exact. I just need to establish clear plane divisions in between. That's it. How these things are actually divided and where these divisions happen. Okay, let's just apply this one. Okay, so now we definitely need to use move brush. Push this deeper. What the problem is, we will push it right with, this is the whole design. I guess we need to push designs lower. Pushing, pulling. Again, the more I will work on these things, the more experience I will get in these. This is probably not the smartest thing to go around this, but again, I do whatever I know how to do, so like after I will gain more experience, I would probably will be making smarter decisions. But for now, these decisions are based on my knowledge in sculpting and my small experience in sculpting, which is pretty small. Again, my sculpting experience goes just with one sculpt, maybe two. So most of these things are actually kind of like how it looks. Kind of works. We actually got too far from the initial design. It's too rounded. I guess ideally I would make it much more, I don't know. It seems a bit you actually need to create better angle here. So as I said before, this is like the problem of working with two different planes or projections. So one projection tells you one thing, the other projection tells you the other thing, and you need to find the balance between them. But the problem is, this is not always an easy thing to do right away, so kind of creates a... What is this? This was a glitch that I didn't notice before. Okay, well, let's just go to the next one, I guess, because I can... although I actually want to put this a little bit higher to actually create what I wanted here to create. If I make this one closer to the design that we have, it probably would look better, but from the front this tilt is missing now. It's kind of a problem because I kind of like how it looks from here. And also we are going to put additional plates from here, and they need to be a little bit more they need to create direction in here, because by making this like this, there's a slower direction in there. Maybe this one even, like from the back it works fine. Okay, let's just apply Dynamesh for now. Let's just again hide our hand, because it's in the way. I made this properly, actually working with 3D rather than with 2D. I don't want to listen to the guides at this point, but at the same time it would be a cool thing to do though. and adding a little bit of asymmetry to the side. Asymmetry. Oh, come on. Yeah, we definitely need to think from all sides, and this is kind of a problematic thing. From one side it works, from the other side it doesn't. Okay. Okay, let's just continue to add these separations. Whoa, it's kind of deep. Should I go that deep? I always can go back, so it's not a per se problem. Still, I need to be careful. Although, kind of picture it, this thing pretty deep. Why not make it that way? And again, the same thing for this one. Definitely need to create separation. Oh, by the way, thank you for reminding us to save. Autosave ability. The cool thing about them standard, it actually could add this hard surface things in here. I kind of forgot about this. So yeah, we actually could, by reversing them standard, we actually could create a sharp angle in these things, which of course is something that we need to do beside creating creases. Yeah, that way is of course much closer to the hard surface, but we need to be careful because, yeah, let's just add the same here, kind of. Now we actually can do this without much of problems. Trying to make it sharper. Sharp. Thank you for the follow! Wipers Lol? I guess I read it properly. Hello, how you doing? Oh no. I don't need to do that. Okay, let's go. I don't know. This thing for me is still pretty new. Let's just add here. In order to make this right, we need to, of course, apply Dynamesh. Because by adding this geometry without applying this geometry, it's not going to work. So I guess we need to, but in order to apply Dynamesh, we need to get our mesh visible. This is one of the problems with it. Benny. Okay, this separation we definitely need. Yeah, definitely gone out of design, which is kind of bothering me because I designed it a specific way, and ideally I would want to stick to this design, not change it that much, but unfortunately the form that I depicted here forces us to change design. This is not something that I would want. So I need to definitely find a way to how to operate this properly without changing design too much. Because again, I don't need that. I don't need changing design. I want the design stay the same. But again, from side view it kind of works, but from the top view we got too far. We've gone too far. So let's just use this one as a guide. To create this separation. Again, it completely kills design. What happened? Really? So, yeah, my brain is fighting. Two different views. Tell me I need to choose one, or combine them together and come up with something in the middle. Yes, I am. I need to come up with something in the middle. This is too deep though, but we'll make it right later. And again, these plates are pretty far from hard surface. Like, come on. They definitely need to go through the trim adaptive thing. And only then they definitely will be hard surface. But it's pretty risky to go with trim adaptive. It's too aggressive on design. But the problem with trim dynamic, it's not aggressive at all. And kinda, you want it to be more aggressive. I guess before working on any shapes, I would need to actually smooth them out like this, and then create additional details, because obviously we definitely need to go back and readdress all these things. And again, for now I'm just getting experience in making these decisions, which will of course make some of my decisions probably not that smart at the beginning. But again, this is the learning process. Everyone needs to learn. There's always a beginning to everything. So this is kind of my beginning of trying to figure out how these things are properly working. Right away in practice, by solving your problems. This is one of the way that I actually want to study and practice. So I want to practice with a purpose. I'm not just want to practice for the sake of practicing. And by purpose, I mean I need to solve a particular problem. So for instance, I'm practicing and at the same time I'm creating a project. So I'm potentially creating something that I could add to my gallery or potential portfolio, and at the same time I'm practicing. So I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone, per se. So why not? Okay, this thing definitely need a crease too. I think it's too thick though. It's crazy big. It's like this plate is too big in terms of a thickness. But again, when we're going to draw this, it's definitely going to be redrawn a little bit differently. So most of the things are going to showcased slightly different, depending on the lighting circumstances, conditions. I'm actually kind of already anxious to go into lighting. I didn't had that much experience working with lighting, but into the stages. But I know like how to properly place lights, how to establish like all these shadows, and I want to put this to practice finally. That's why I'm kind of anxious to do this. Just make this one a little bit. Yeah, of course, when you're working on these type of projects, you're not necessarily like in the talking mode. Most of the time you are just in your head trying to solve these problems, because this is where your unconsciousness comes into play. So your consciousness is kind of goes back into the periphery, and your main focus, you're still kind of operating using conscious decisions. You're still like making conscious decisions, but these conscious decisions are usually like in the periphery of your brain. It's time to make this one an angle. Why I didn't figure out this earlier, like that I actually can create a pretty good potential for hard surface by just reversing a damn standard brush. Kind of good thing. Okay, right here, as you see, we don't have enough polygons, so we definitely need to apply Dynamesh in order to make it right. But since our hand is actually preventing us from that, first I will create these creases and then, or sharp angles, and then I will definitely Dynamesh and make them work better. Yep. Okay, so for now I guess, yeah, we did decent amount of work in here. So let's actually first let's save and let's just get rid of our thing and apply Dynamesh. Cool. And so now let's just go with the pinching and just basically make these things right. Although pinching is definitely will help us to make these things a little bit better. Again, I'm not using fancy brushes. Standard brushes I use usually the standard brushes are capable of doing everything. So this is actually applies to everything, even to into D for 2D too. So standard 3D brushes are in most cases will give you everything that you need. You just need to learn how to operate them, and the same applies to 2D brushes. So of course they could make your job a little bit easier in terms of like shortcuts, or not shortcuts necessarily, but necessarily they could help you to save a little bit more time depending on what brushes you're working with. But again, I'm not the person that goes through like brushes and see brushes as something that could definitely change the final look, because if you're going to be too dependent on brushes, I guess it's not a very good thing. You need to learn how to work with standard brushes and manipulate with them, and if you know how to work around these type of brushes like standard brushes, then of course use whatever you like. But without understanding how standard brushes work, if you will go right away into a brushes dependency, for the sake of learning, I guess it's not a very good thing, at least in my view. Okay, this thing is strangely strange. The only problem that I have with this one, definitely need to put this these things are definitely don't look good. Let me just move them up better. But again, it still is going to look completely different when it comes down to the final look. I'm not going to use this, so I'm not going to stress about these things too much. Okay, that was... Oh, come on, time is ticking. We don't have that much time. So yeah, I guess I will work only on this part, on the trunk area. So let's just continue to add small things in here. By the way, before that my schedule was like only 5 days a week, but I kind of decided to go, since I changed a time that when I'm streaming with at, I think I need to change with this time, of course, the come on, forget what I wanted to say. So yeah, basically the time when I'm streaming is just slightly changed, and not slightly, but pretty decent change. And with this change, of course, I will bring back like daily streams, creative streams, because usually throughout the whole week, 5 days is not enough. You need more, and I need to kind of finish this project. Definitely, I actually want to finish this project because I already working on this project decent amount of time. This is like 28th stream, and it seems too long already, and you kind of want to things go a little bit not quicker per se. Again, I don't want to rush this project, but again, I want to spend time efficiently, and one of the ways to do this is to stream daily, I guess. So I guess I will definitely stream daily creative too, because again, creative is the main thing on my channel. I'm considering my channel creative channel on Twitch, although I'm streaming Magic the Gathering there, but Magic the Gathering is not something that I'm like choosing as my main theme. It's more like additional thing for the channel to make it a little bit more versatile and friendly for creators and for gamers too. And also the cool thing about Magic that I like, of course, I'm kind of seeing it pretty close to the artists. So I'm an artist and I feeling close to Magic because Magic helps artists to be established and noticed, and they give the opportunity to artists to grow, and this is something that I love about Magic too. They actually create some type of I don't know, place for admiring art beside the commercial things, which is a good thing. Wow. So right now I kind of disregarded the design from different sides, and I'm from different sides, like front view, side view, and I'm more working on the design like in 3D. It will probably go a little bit out of place, but I will try to stay. So the question is, should I need to create here a crease? Or is just going to be a slight transition? Yeah, this one definitely needs to be inside. Kind of already there. It's strange. It looks strange. Yeah, I guess we need to make it a little bit more straight. So we need to find a brush that actually, yeah, something like this, that could add form, make this thing a little bit smoother. Oh, come on now. And work on because I need this thing to be flat. I don't necessarily know what this is, but it's not an eye definitely, but it's something like that works with organic, non-organic, and combining it with each other in between. Or maybe it's just as a part of the design. Small part of the again, I wanna manage to finish this till the end of the stream, and we don't have that much time, like about probably 15 minutes or so. So I kind of wanted to make this okay, applying this. Let's smooth this out. Not necessarily smooth, let's just try to trim it. Trim it, trim it. It's like a belly button for a transformer. I don't know. Maybe, oh no, it has eyes. This is a bad thing. Maybe this thing is actually works like something that they connected to. So some type of a station, maybe. By the way, every brush has its own algorithm. So for instance, standard brush is just basically moving things, so is the damp standard. Labeled up is actually creating new polygons, new layers. The same for the layer brush. I definitely don't need to use magnify brush here. Okay, so I'll just save it. Okay, from far it kind of looks good. Yeah, the only thing that I definitely need to separate this plate and make it more hard surface, because it still from far looks not hard surface at all. Again, maybe the reason being is we need to actually choose a move brush and actually made it super big. Crazy big, and actually move this one in here, make it a little bit higher in here. Yeah, this actually could work. It's kind of closer to the silhouette that we created. I still feel like this thing needs to be... These are the muscle suggestions, so... Just make things a little bit smoother here. Still feels like I need this separation in here, so for some reason, like right here we have it. Oh, actually I have a little bit of separation here. Let's add this one. It definitely screams that we need to add some type of separation in here, because these plates are actually needs to be a little bit separate. Okay, let's try to make it more like this. Yeah, this is closer to this one. And of course, separation is going to be in here. Because again, these are just plates. This is not a part of a body necessarily. Okay, this is going to be a hard thing to decide where to properly direct it. Yeah, maybe this actually looks from 3D pretty cool. Let's add final creasing here. Slightly smoothing this out. And again, you see the problem, they are not hard surface at all, and they need to be more I want to create like not smooth transitions and curvy transitions, but instead hard transitions. And the problem with hard transitions is that you need to work on them from different views. Of course, 2 view is not enough to make this right. We could probably have, or we could probably allow ourselves to have these couple of smooth transitions. It's not a bad thing to have, I guess. But still, we need to be careful with those, because it's not something that usually works for us. So in this particular work, because yeah, because again, this is a semi-organic form, and if we will make it too organic, it's not going to work as a semi-organic form. That's kind of why we'll just go with a pinch, slowly go with a pinch to make them. Okay, this is too big. By the way, this pinching is not working yet, because after I will apply Dynamesh, this pinching is basically will be destroyed. It's just going to, yeah, so the only reason why I'm doing the pinching here is just to create slight suggestion that this thing is actually like this, yeah. Of course, we could do this with the DEM standard reverse, but I guess better way is just combine them together. And this is a pretty interesting experience. So now, having this experience, if I will encounter hard surface things, now I actually know how to work with them, which is a good thing. I again needed experience by like seemingly doing things that not necessarily that I need to do. But again, this is all about gaining experience from every part of making your project. And this is the thing that I like about my approach to creating art. It works for me. Then I guess you need to find something, of course, that works for you. Okay, glitch. Let's save. Oh, snap. It's time already. Aw, I want more. Yeah, I definitely need to readdress these parts, because this is something that definitely needs to be readdressed, especially after the fact that I actually figured out how to add hard surface suggestions. This thing that actually will allow us to create much more cooler plates on the top too, on the body itself. Cool. So again, the process of making these creases look more decent is the same. First, you create with the damp standard brush in regular position this crease, then by separating your planes, and then you just add with the same damp standard brush some type of a reverse angle, just an angle. Then you apply it into the Dynamesh in order to apply these changes. As simple as that. These things don't actually need to have they actually go right away under this plate. We already encountered this problem by working with these things, so we had to suggest that they go under this plate. Now we actually could do the same in here, which is a good thing. So now I can add these three things throughout the whole body and actually make things much more hard surface, which of course is a cool thing to do. But again, I will work on these details in the later stages, definitely. Not today, because today we kind of already passed the time limit. Not past, but pretty close to it. So yeah, by adding these hard surface things, these things are starting to become more hard surface. And it will help us to distinguish how they actually face the light. Because again, yeah, and the last part that I'm going to do, so yeah, we just basically need to go around all these forms another time, or yeah. So the only thing that I will do before we finish this unfortunately small session, or not session, but yeah, part, is I guess the fact that, so let's just check if I did everything that I set out to do. So yeah, this one, yeah, the only thing that I will do is just to separate, create a crease for this one, not a crease but sharp angle, and create an angle in here too. although we have decent amount of problems with how this looks from the side. That we need to readdress later. But for now, slowly make things a little bit better. Add. Yeah, a little bigger. No, reverse. Yeah, this thing is pretty close. They're pretty close to each other, which could not work, but I guess it will. And also, of course, we need to establish the division in here too. Not the division, but the fact that this is actually a plate. There's probably a better way to go around this, but do whatever I can with things that I have. As long as it works at the end. I guess it doesn't matter which brush you're using to create the illusion of reality or the suggestion of the form. The only thing that it's important is that you will do what you set out to do. How you do it, usually it's not important. At least in this case, because result's still going to be a result. It could look better or worse depending on what type of method you choose to follow, but in the end it's gonna... Okay. Right away I'm seeing the problem with the back. It's too out there. Need to make it a little bit less prominent. So this will actually help us, definitely will help us to depict this as more hard surface thing than anything else. So yeah, I guess I almost done on this part. There's still a bunch of things that we need to do in terms of adding these angles, sharp angles, in order to suggest hard surface. Now I kind of figured out how to do this, which is a good thing. Yeah, I forgot to add these two right here. Let's just add this as our last call. Smooth out a little bit, sharpen these things in order to make them transition right away into the under the plate, because again they are going under the plate. Right here is definitely going to be a problem to showcase this. We got too far from it. We actually need to add a little bit of shapes in here to make things right. A little bit of a clay. Again, the thing about sculpting, adding, subtracting, polishing, polishing. It's the same for this drawing. Of course, this thing I guess needs to be much more sharper. We will address this in the later, in next parts, but it definitely needs to be sharper. Because, come on. it's not sharp at all, but it needs to be. By making it sharper, of course, we will change a lot in the silhouette. They don't necessarily need to be too sharp, but they definitely don't need to be curved, because these are the plates. By sharp I mean like, yeah, not curvy. Especially in these type of places. Okay, so yeah, I guess we're going to slowly end the session. We already passed the time a little bit, so again, starting from the next session, I will continue to work on these things. I almost established everything that I needed in terms of a design, so I established these things. I still need to think about how this... so basically this crease is actually needs to create pretty big separation between side plates and the front plate. So we definitely need to address it, because I definitely don't have time to do this now, because there's a bunch of work here that we need to do. We need to make it deep. We need to figure out how it's going to be depicted in here. So yeah, this is definitely the thing next that we need to do next. But for this particular moment, I kind of like how it looks now. Again, I slightly established the plane division. These plane divisions, now they actually look as actual plates from far, which is a good thing, because these are not necessarily for now looking like separate plates, because they don't have sharp angles to them, and there's no feeling like they are separated. It's more feels like they're just drawn in here. But we actually need to create these type of separations to pop them out from the shape, from the overall shape, especially for the plates themselves. So yeah, and of course after I will finish with all of these, we will go into the hands and into the legs, which is definitely going to be a crazy problem, because I'm not necessarily have a particular designs in here, and we have decent amount of like flexibility to these designs, and definitely is going to be a problem what design we need to push inside the shape, and what type of designs we need to pull out of the shape. So all these things we definitely need to answer in the next in the next part. So yeah, I guess on that note we will end this part. Thank you for watching, thank you for being here, have a nice day or night, see you in the next part, bye bye.